Good morning, friends. It is wonderful, as Dr. Bunchai mentioned. It's actually a family get-together, I would say, since many of us have been working together for many years now. And then I think it's after 5 years we are able to have this large in-person gathering together. And then also there are several of the other friends and colleagues who are joining online. I once again welcome you all. And then it's my pleasure to share the AeHIN report, and then I'll try to keep it as short as possible, and then we will get to the session. So AeHIN is actually a set of volunteers, like what was started in 2012 with just 6 members. Now we are over 1,000 and then around 72 countries right now. And then we have our members from not only from this region, which was mandated to work with, but we have from every region. We have people from academy, we have people from health informatics or digital health societies, we have donors, development partners, students, and then whatnot. So we met earlier this year, in fact, here in Jakarta, and then we also had our vision, mission, and strategies updated. And then we proceeded with having this conference in Jakarta. So that was the time that we also had this decision to have the meeting in Jakarta. We have also the working council members among the 1,900 plus, but we have the mandate to work with the WHO regions of Southeast Asia and Western Pacific. And then we also work very closely with 16 countries. And those 16 countries is where we also have the representation in the working council. And we have a very active participation, and most of them are actually the representatives from the ministries of health. And you will actually see them in action throughout the next 2 days. And they are our, thank you very much. So if you can see that we started initially with capacity building, knowledge sharing, but then like over the years, working with the countries and providing webinars, trainings, and then organizing the annual conferences, we actually started working together with the countries and supporting them with the digital health transformation by offering the technical support. That's where we are right now. So we work in the 4 strategic areas, that is to promote leadership and governance for digital health, facilitate capacity building for digital health, create opportunities for knowledge exchange and resource sharing, and enable interoperability through standards. So this is something we also updated in the recent meeting that we had in Jakarta earlier this year. Yeah, so I was mentioning about the AeHIN members. Today what we are is because of the members and the partners that are with us here in person as well as online. And then these members, among these members, we have also have formed this working council, which I was mentioning about, and there are 16 countries who are actively involved in the working council, and they are actually the eyes and ears, and then our presence in the countries. And they are the ones who tell us about the priorities, and then the needs in the countries with whom we work with, make things happen on the ground. And then we have the AeHIN Governing Committee, whom we saw earlier also on the stage. Dr. Bunchai, the chair, Alvin, the treasurer, and then Dr. Fazila, Dr. Anis, and then myself, and then also the secretariat team that works closely with us. And I would say that our secretariat is the wing beneath our wings to make things happen. And then we also have the AeHIN Communities of Practice, that is a REACH on the enterprise architecture, the COIL on the standards and interoperability lab. And then the recent community of practice is the Digital Health Planning National Systems course, which we offered thanks to the support that we received from our donors. And we also have the AeHIN Secretariat, which I mentioned. So these are the working council right now, who is actively represented from the countries. But then, of course, we also have other countries who will be joining us very soon. And this is the picture that we recently had during the GAPS workshop in KL. And these are our board members. And these are the communities of practice which I mentioned about. And we also have another community of practice, sorry, I forgot to mention, that is on the Open IMIS. We are working together with GIZ on that, and then also having something happening on the ground in Lao PDR recently. I will come to that a little later. And this is our secretariat who has been working very closely with you over the emails, and these are the angels that are making things happen, whether it is this conference or whether it is our training or whether it is any other intervention that we do. There are many frameworks, many tools. I think we have had plenty of frameworks and tools in digital health, but working together actively with the countries, this is something that we came up with. This is a simple framework. We identified these 4 gaps. Because the countries in the digital transformation, if we can fix the issues or identify the gaps and fill them in terms of governance, architecture, program management, standards, and interoperability, I think the digital transformation in health happening in the countries will be really successful. We have also added people as part of program management, even if we have not directly mentioning about it, because there can be no programs without people, but we realize also in the Global Digital Health Monitor that the health ICT workforce, that particular thing is lagging around the regions. It's not only in this region. So that is something that we actually are dealing with under the program management, and we are actually supporting also countries to have a dedicated unit called Program Management Unit for Digital Health, and then the TORs for that, because without that layer, being the connective tissue between the governance and on the operations, things don't move. That is something that we have been focusing in the last couple of years. So this is the right shop that we had recently. I had mentioned about earlier that we met in KL with, I think, 14 countries were represented, around 30 people, and then we did this call for action, regional call for action. Actually, we talked with those country representatives, identified their priorities, and then also this is going to actually shape our strategy in the next few years. We will be talking about gaps a little later, and we will share it with you, the white paper that will be also released as part of the GM. So we have been, actually, AeHIN has been doing capacity building activities now for a decade. We started with HL7 training. In fact, like very happy to see the minister talking about so many standards. Honestly, I have come across very few the political leadership who's actually talking about in detail about the standards. We started with HL7 training, and then we also realized it's not just about training people in the country. Unless otherwise the country has a re-entry plan for those people who are trained, the training or capacity building efforts go into waste. So this is something that we have also planned. This we learned over the years, that we also have a plan for whomever we support. We have a plan how they can actually go back to the countries and work meaningfully. This is something that we learned out of really hard work. And we have offered several trainings, whether it's project management, and then the recent one is on FIRE and Open HIE, working together with partners. And then on HL7, we used to have this formal training with them, but then thanks to our standards and interoperability lab team that's based in Thailand, we also have put together something very practical. It's not about learning about the courses, but unless otherwise they have a hands-on experience in terms of doing group projects, probably interoperability may be a difficult topic to learn. That is something happened thanks to the team from Thailand, Standards and Interoperability team from Thailand. Thanks to Dr. Bunchai, Dr. Rath, Dr. Prapat and team for that to make it happen. And we also have this curriculum actually sort of handed over, or I would say not handed over, but then we also have this exchange with HL7 so that we can actually train people, more people on that. So a convergence workshop, I think this is one of the main recipes of AeHIN. In countries, we found, unless otherwise we have, especially in digital health, that really needs the multi-sectoral cooperation and collaboration, things don't move. So it's not only the ministries of health when it comes to digital. There are other ministries like ministries of planning and finance when the money has to come, especially from the donors. Also the Ministry of IT or telecom, it depends on the countries. Whoever is relevant, we try to bring everybody together, and that's our recipe of convergence workshop. So far we have been able to conduct in 9 countries over the last 8 years, I would say, which I will also, again, we are updating the toolkit. That's a toolkit which Asian Development Bank published in November 2018, but we are updating based on the recent convergence workshop that we held in Laopedia, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia, which will also be shared as part of the GM a little later. And then we are actively working with UNICEF and WHO on this, and thanks to the support from UNICEF, this updated version is in the preparation. And in the next year, we look forward to work together under the leadership of WHO, because we want to review this methodology in a more detail. And then we hope and wish that our convergence toolkit will be part of the transformation toolbox of the WHO's new initiative on Global Initiative for Digital Health. So these are the convergence workshops that we have organized over years, and this is sometimes not one single iteration. And if you look at the toolkit, it talks about 4 days of program, but nowadays nobody has much of a time to assemble at one place, especially the senior stakeholders. So what we do is we do a lot of pre-convergence on virtually, and then we meet on a specific agenda that has been the priority for the country under the leadership of MOH and conduct the convergence workshops. So the latest ones were in Lapedia, Sri Lanka, and Jakarta earlier this year. Next slide, please. And these are our general meetings. So this is our 9th meeting with the family. So we have conducted so far 8 of them. And then the last one, which was warm and in person, was in Sri Lanka. After that, this is an occasion to see everyone here together with us. Thank you. And I know that many of you have come straight from other meetings, which was very close few days back, I think from Helena and many other meetings, and thanks for making it here and joining us. So this is AeHIN Academy, and then there are several trainings. I mentioned about HL7, TOGAF, then DHIS2, then Archimate, and then also COBIT, and then the recent one was like 3 years back on Prince2, and then we also have certification programs in FIRE, OpenHIE, and then also the course that we could do on the Digital Health Planning National Systems course. And we also started a community of practice to engage them, as I mentioned. Unless otherwise we engage this community into doing something meaningful for the countries, the investment actually is not very meaningful. So this is the OpenHIE certification. Of course, the material is available for free, but for the certification, we actually pay. So that we had 2 iterations last year and this year, and then people got certified into simple understanding of what is interoperability, also the health information exchange. So the next one is on FIRE, which I mentioned about. We also have the training program together with HL7, but we also created our own content in the sense to make it more easy for people to understand and also do the group project by which they actually learn by doing something for the countries and having the implementation gates in place. Next slide, please. So AeHIN webinars, this is something that we started right at the beginning of AeHIN, and then it has been continuing almost every month. Like I think we have about 3 or 4 happening on various topics by experts and also by demand, but by what comes as requests from the countries. And we have experts talking about it in different topics. Next slide, please. So collaboration with partners. I think this is the, next slide, please. This is the most important part of it. I think digital health, by its very nature, is multi-sectoral, multidisciplinary. We cannot be what we are today without the support from partners. I think I can confidently say that over the years, we have been able to actually be very meaningful to our partners, and then we have also, together with partners like UNICEF, WHO, USAID, our World Bank, and then GIZ, and many others, like PFR Foundation, who is here. With everyone, we have been able to add a new flavor to the scope and the operations in our countries, and thanks to the partners. So this is something that we worked with the Health Enable on the Global Digital Health Monitor, and we were associated right from the beginning of the previous iteration. That was Global Digital Health Index, which you are already aware. So we were part of the version 2 review and then survey in the region, and this is the picture where our teams from the countries were there at the launch, and then they shared their experience on the survey. Yeah, we didn't stop with the survey. We also had a webinar with the Health Enabled team sharing the experience and then the data from our region, and also had people from our region sharing how they are actually using this monitor as a benchmark and a reference. That is something that we did after the launch. Yeah, so I would say that we couldn't be here, but for the work with the partners. And then this is really meaningful. I can see the networks, like other regional digital health networks also present with us. Like I see Daniel from Rikainsa, Baba from Helena joining us. So that's something that, we are also, we have been working with the networks ever since 2019, the GDHF in Washington. We also have a small group that's known as Networking the Networks, and we actually shared. But then this year, we have plans to more actively work together with the other networks and also being part of the WHO's Global Initiative for Digital Health, working together. And this is something that we have with another partner, Transform Health. Yesterday, we had the regional workshop. So these are the pictures and the efforts that we did as part of the country dialogues with Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and the Philippines. So we had the principles introduced last year, and then now we are actively working with the countries, because data governance, whether it is AI or telemedicine or anything, data governance is something that is very important. We realize that many of our countries still do not have a policy or regulation on data governance. So we actually work together with our partner Transform Health in the agenda of the health data governance. So we also had these workshops, which I mentioned about with Philippines, Sri Lanka. So this is another partner initiative. As I mentioned from the Global Digital Health Monitor also, health ICT workforce is a weak link. Though we have so many frameworks, tools, and initiatives from the country, what is lacking is this trained workforce able to actually take the digital transformation forward. So this is one initiative, as I would say that small pebble, but then a lot more to do, and thanks to the support from PFA Foundation, who is here, and then also working together with Mahidol University to have this fellowships for 2 people from the region on data science and clinical informatics happening. So this is the Open IMS initiative in the region that we have been working together with GIZ. And one of the things that we found as part of our convergence workshop is it's not just a list of recommendations, but to take those recommendations into action. So this is a simple thing that we are working together with, thanks to support from GIZ, to have the Open IMS customized partially to actually do a pilot in Lao PDR. And then if it works, the country can actually adopt it for the claims processing. And of course, we are in the last slide, and please feel free to actually contact us if you need anything more, and then really welcome you all to have this very engaging session. And then, yeah, that's the report from the executive director. And then I would say that let's get started with the sessions, and then really look forward for your active participation and support. Thank you very much for making it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. J, for the AeHIN general AeHIN report.